Hey guys, so this is a bit of a Rick update, I guess. We've done a lot of work at the youth center here in Chicago, and I just figured I'd do a video myself and kind of show off some of the stuff that we've done, some of the improvements that we made, and some of the repairs that have been completed. So this is the lobby. I mean, at first glance, it doesn't look a whole lot different. We've all seen that. These are both still working. Not a whole lot changed in here. I did put a better outlet cover on this so that it's completely covered. These are all daylight fluorescent. We may end up putting daylight in these as well just to match, but that's not for sure. May do cool light up there and daylight here. And then this, and again, we've been kind of playing with light bulbs a little bit, but everything here is more or less, at least the fixture that we were intending on. So Dan was able to get these out of a church getting demolished, and these date to probably the 1950s or 60s, and they're very appropriate for this, we thought. And the fixture with the buzzer that used to be here, I have myself, and I was going to restore that just for personal use, but I figure this is a little bit better for the church. All four of these guys are still working. And then we also put one here too, just so that they're, symmetrical. And for now we've got daylights in here, again, still kind of playing with light bulbs. So we may change that out, but that's kind of what it's looking like right now. Okay, so here's the rec room as it stands. Still kind of a work in progress, but I just figured I'd show what we got so far. Pretty much, I believe all of the ceiling tiles are intact. There's a couple that aren't in, the best of shape, but they're at least presentable. All three fans still working. We're in the process of changing out some of the dead shop lights from spare ones that Dan had. As you can see, not very many of them are working currently, but that's going to be addressed fairly soon. But again, and then here's kind of our work area, stuff that we're, future projects, stuff that's pending. You can see these are all the sconces that were pulled out of the sanctuary. Unfortunately, most of them are covered in paint, broken, or just not in particularly great shape, so these will probably get parted out. These mid-century lights will definitely be restoring and putting up somewhere. This will probably go in that little overhang thing in the main sanctuary. We got some other lights we may or may not use. And then here is the kind of ceiling fan inventory, I suppose. Again, some things we may use, some things we may not. These are the 3 Harbor Breezes that were in the sanctuary, and then some of those are the DC-52s that we took down. Otherwise, some other ones that Dan brought and we may or may not use, but it's good to have some options. But yeah, so this room's coming along. Okay, so this is the side kitchen room here. One pretty big update since at least the last time that I did an update is the fan in here is different. This is, I don't actually know what the manufacturer on this is. It's made in Taiwan and it's a flush mount spinner motor, but we thought that footprint vent thing was pretty cool. This was actually a Habitat scrap bin save, and blades and irons are off a different fan, but they definitely look like they could be original. Yeah, this thing is running really, really well. We may end up changing it for something else later, but this is our first, first official fan swap for this room, and so far it's running pretty well. A little noisy on the lower speeds, that's why we may switch it, but high is definitely nice and smooth. There's that really cool 50s hall light. Not sure if I showed that working before. We got 2 LEDs in there now. Another interesting note is that if you look, this was actually a hallway originally. You can see where there was a wall, so that explains why there's like a randomly placed light right here, because this would have been like a little hallway to presumably to get into the kitchen, and then this would have been like your little side room. But interesting bit of history there. And then in this room, again, still got some work going on, but both of these are fully functional. They just needed bulbs. That one needs a ballast, which I do have, and we'll be putting that in shortly. Okay, so let's go in the sanctuary here. So believe last time I filmed, the fans are more or less the same as what you're seeing here. We got all DC 52s, which is pretty much how they originally were. A couple of them got moved around just because of some having issues and others running better than others, but more or less how it was. We have started replacing ceiling tiles. These things are not the easiest to reinstall because they were originally done with glue, and as they age, it just kind of start deteriorating. But the ones that are mismatched will end up, this whole thing will eventually get repainted over with white paint again, so these will actually match a lot better. But it's still quite an improvement, at least not having a bunch of gaps. And yeah, obviously still got something to do, but you know, it's a heck of an improvement even just like that. Yeah, and all the fans are running well. The sconces, I don't remember if those were in the previous video or not. These are the same as those couple that we got out in the lobby. There's 3 on each side. And that we've gotten extremely positive feedback on those from the church patrons. So here's just a general look from the back. Okay, and then one really big update, and Dan was the one who mainly did this, what we now have stage lights. So we tried to mimic the way the lights would have been mounted originally in this place. There, as you can see, there's old electrical boxes right there. They originally would have had a bunch of incandescent sockets kind of in like a strip light looking thing, and there were 6 of them, 6 bulbs per thing, so hence why there's 6 on the one Dan made. And they're a mixture of warm white and daylight to give kind of a better light quality for on stage. And they're very bright, and so far we think it's looking really good on the stage. I mean, you can definitely tell it gets brighter as you look toward the front. But yeah, no, I mean, it definitely livens it up. Okay, and then so here's kind of the overall look on the sanctuary. As you can see, the people that run the church have moved the instruments to the other side for reasons unknown, but they went ahead and did that. I can't remember if these fans were up or not. I know the front ones were, the 3 design houses, and then these cool JCPenney 6-blade things are up front. And we went ahead and changed the light bulbs in the rest of these front fans to warm white as well. These 2 I believe also had daylight for a period of time as well, but all of these are now warm white, which we thought looked better because usually daylight bulbs look kind of weird in vintage fans. The warm white LEDs definitely look better in these. They're all running really well. It's very, very hot July day, so it's good to have some good fans running here. And then here is kind of what it looks like if you were on stage looking toward the audience. So yeah, no, it's looking really good. Okay, and another update. We changed some bulbs. I'll just say this once, the light bulbs that were chosen for this particular one is definitely not what I would have chosen, but everyone, or a couple other people thought it would look better, more stage lighting-esque, so we decided to go with it. They're one's warm white, one is daylight. We're probably not going to put the louver thing back onto this because, well, if you remember from the previous time I showed these, the back one was missing and the other one had it, but we wanted to, at least have it be symmetrical. So what we're going to do is have the back 2 have the louvers, and then this one will not. And honestly, in terms of light output, the louvers aren't really going to help much anyway, because having those really bright pars is kind of shooting straight down is definitely going to help with stage lighting a bit. But it looks okay. I mean, at least it kind of just looks like a ceiling box that would have been there. And then backstage, I briefly showed this one. We put bulbs in that and it did not come on, so I think that is disconnected. This one, we did put bulbs in, and as you can see, it is working. It's not going to focus real well, but it's the same light bulbs, 2 pars, one being daylight and one warm white. that doesn't bother me as much back here just because it's not directly visible. But yeah, eventually we'll figure out why this one doesn't work and then reinstall the louvers after a little bit of TLC back into these two, and then we're just kind of aiming them at the painting that's back here, and then we still have the original, well, not original, but the two fluorescent shop lights that were back here to start with. So, but yeah, I mean the light quality is definitely nice. So. Also wanted to just mention on these round vents, I think I pointed it out in a previous video, but the that little like square looking thing in the center is actually an old PA speaker. They were added onto the vents. As you can see, that's what they would look like without any speaker added, and that looks exactly how it would have been the real old photo, that 1940 photo that we found. But the little square speakers were added. And I don't know exactly how the wiring works on these. I believe it goes upstairs to something. If you look closely, it appears there's a little bit of wire right there jumping from the top of the vent louvers into the rest of it. So I'm probably going to, and it's, kind of depends on how the wiring looks and that, but I'm probably going to install a little like Bluetooth amplifier type thing, just a little cheap one up in the ceiling somewhere, so that we can actually play music through those. Not that it's necessary at all, but I think it would be really cool. So we're probably gonna do it. Why not? But yeah, I can't imagine the sound quality is gonna be particularly great. I'm sure these are just kind of like intercom speakers. I don't know if somebody must have fabricated that black outer bit to hold the speaker, because I mean obviously it's not original to the vent. And another thing, once we can get ceiling access, is that we might be able to see if we can resurrect some of those guys too, those old can lights, which would be really nice because there's actually 3 more here. Okay, so here's a little bit of bonus content. When I was vacuuming, I actually noticed something in the floor that I had not noticed before. If you look, I mean, it's very obvious now that the floor is freshly swept, but you can see a very clear indent into the floor. Well, and it kind of just goes into nothing. These were the original walkways when they had the theater seats in here. And that definitely checks out, because in the old photo it was broken into 3s. There was like a section here, and a section there. These are the same walkways that they would have had between those theater seats. I mean, you can kind of see how it comes in right there at the door, and then that goes all the way to the front. Kind of gets a little bit harder to see toward the front, because I mean the carpet gets like, a little mushier, but but it goes all the way up to the front. And the other side is also there too, right there. I mean, I don't know how many times I've looked past that and didn't even realize that's what that was. But yeah, and then you can see there's right to the doors. We also heard from some of the people that have been involved with this building for a long time. The theater seats were actually in use up until probably the 1990s, which was actually a bit more recent than we thought. I would assume if we pulled up some of this newer carpet, there's probably bolt holes and stuff into the floor where they were mounted. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. I never realized that's what that was. Thanks for watching. All right, and one other pretty big update. We now have bathroom fans. So this is the men's room. Got a antique brass SMC U42 from 1989. Yeah, I mean, we were looking for, obviously a hugger or something flush mount that'll fit in here. And this 42-inch SMC that I had just happened to fit. I mean, it is extremely close fit. but you know, it does the job. It's running on reverse because the air current, when this thing is on downdraft, it honestly doesn't push very much air just because of how close it is to the walls and, you know, just the aerodynamics in this room. So if you set it on reverse, it actually ends up moving more air because it just bounces off the, you know, these low overhangs and that, and you can actually feel it. So, but yeah, no, it's a real nice addition for the bathroom here, because we had a very quickly dying off fluorescent, really cheap, you know, fluorescent trough. In fact, you can see where it was, the discolored part. I'll probably eventually paint that white so you don't see that, you know, discolored area, but you know. But yeah, no, that light was dying out very quickly. The ballast was about to fail, and now we have a fan. So a little airflow in here is never a bad thing. So I'm gonna clean this bathroom up a little bit. All right, and here is the ladies' room. And as you see, we have a fan in here now too. This is a 1990 SMC 42. This, if you've seen my apartment, this is actually the same one that used to hang over the kind of right side chairs. I ended up changing some fans out, so this one became available. And I used a set of repainted blades that I had from something else that were just plain white now. So those are now the blades for this turtle fitter, and there you go. It was the same deal in here. There was a really cheap fluorescent troffer that was not particularly great. Took that down, put a fan up. And this one, as you see, we have it on downdraft. It does blow a little more naturally, I think, because of, you know, again, look how the ceiling kind of is on the lower area of the ceiling. So this one's also an extremely tight fit, but it fits. Yeah, it definitely gives it a little, you know, livens it up in here a little bit, because it was a little dark looking with just the one troffer. Also wanted to say the whole idea, like, of bathroom ceiling fans was heavily inspired by 12 wings. I remember Dan had some huggers and similar kinds of fans in the bathroom areas in 12 wings. So it's pretty cool to, you know, have an install like that again. Also by FanStick.